So good morning, good day to whoever is listening to my YouTube channel. Today's discussion. So one important thing in identifying the accurate test is to determine or to understand the data types and the variables. So for the data types, we need to determine whether the data is discrete or continuous, dependent, qualitative, and the scale of measurement. This is in reference to the basic statistics of Erwin Liabo, his fifth edition. So for my previous video, you have seen my video about level of measurements and scale of measurements and type of data. Now today, I'm going to give you examples on how to determine the type of data or type of variables and the scale of variables. Okay, let's proceed for the first one, which are the discrete and continuous. So we already discussed in class that when we say discrete variable, this can only be taken with a specific or distinct values. We need to count and it should be in a whole number and we cannot take half of it, okay? And it has a distinct value, so that is discrete data. And for continuous data, data that can be take any value within a range. So there should be a range and the decimal point for continuous data is very significant, okay? Now let's proceed to the example. For example, number one, number of calls received by a call center in a day, that is discrete. Of course, we talk about number, not minutes. So if we are going to use minutes of calls received by a call center in a day, that becomes continuous. However, we are just referring here number of calls received by a call center in a day. So number of calls, we cannot have 1.5 unless the unit measure is in minutes. So that is discrete. The height of the building in meters is continuous. Why? When we measure height, it should be in centimeter, meter, or feet. So the points there, like 5.2 or the point something there is significant. That's why it is continuous. Along with the weight of a watermelon. How do we measure weight of a watermelon? We measure it using kilograms, grams. That's why it is continuous. If you look at the metric system, there is the points there are really significant, which is really useful in determining whether your data or your certain variable is continuous. So in this case, we have the weight of the watermelon. These are continuous, okay? When we measure the weight and the height, because the unit measure for the weight and the height are continuous, okay? It could be discrete if we change the weight, if the unit measure is light, heavy, and then light, heavy. So that becomes discrete because we are categorizing. However, in this manner, when we say weight, we are referring immediately to the metric system. Okay. The next one is number of pages in a book. That is discrete because if you look at the pages in the book, we could not say page 2.2, right? There is no 2.2. And when we assume that the book is a whole page, so that is discrete. That's discrete in nature. The number of pages in a book. So the last one for the discrete and continuous is we have here the number of cars in a parking lot. So that is discrete because when we count the number of cars, we do not count 2.2, 2.3. The decimal points is not significant. So when we say number of cars, the same as the number of heads. So number of heads or number of people, we cannot assume point something in a number of people. So the same goes with the number of cars in a parking lot. So that is discrete. So let's go to the next one is here we have the dependent and independent. So for this type of variable, they should coexist. We cannot say a variable is dependent if independent does not exist. So as we have discussed in class, dependent variable is the variable that being tested or measured. And then the independent variable, this is the variable that is manipulated or categorized. For example, the one we have discussed in class, we have the fertilizer and the plant, but not really just the plant, but the characteristic of the plant. what are the characteristics of the plant height, the plant weight, the number of leaves, and the number of roots, along with the diameter of the plant. So here, I will give you an example on how to determine dependent and independent variable. So the first one is we have here um, the does the type of music affect the number of customer visiting a store? So here it is in question form, but we can also identify here which one is dependent and independent. So here we have type of music. Now we cannot just say music. It should be type of music because we are referring to characteristic. We are referring to variable. If you only say music, it is just a, a common name. So we need to have characteristics. So we need to have type of music. What could be the type of music? It could be ballad, it could be jazz, or it could be pop. Okay. And then does it affect the number of customer visiting? And so the number of customer visiting here is dependent variable because probably most of the customer visit that certain store because of the type of music. But type of music can stand alone, which means regardless of what the music you want to play, um you can choose whatever type of music you want to play in your certain store. But the number of customer visiting depends upon maybe because of the type of music. Okay, the next one is, does the time spent exercising impact the number of calories burned? So the number of calories burned is dependent to the time spent exercising. So time spent exercising is up to you whether you're going to spend an hour exercising or just 30 minutes exercising. So that's why it is independent variable because it depends on you. You can manipulate. Okay, today um I'm going to do 2 hours of exercising. So therefore maybe I could have number of calories burned. So number of calories burned will not exist if you don't exercise. Okay, that's why number of calories burned is dependent to the time spent exercising. Next one is number of hours studied influence the test score. So of course, the test score is dependent on the number of hours you studied. For example, if you studied just really little, so probably you will have a very low score in your quiz. That's why test score depends on the number of hours studied. The number of hours studied, you can manipulate this one. It's up to you whether you want to study more or you want to study less. Okay. Next, we have, does the temperature of a liquid affect its volume? So this one, I think this one is could interchange. But in this question, temperature of a liquid affect its volume. So it is really definitive that we can really determine that the volume is dependent on the temperature because of the statement construction or the question construction. However, if it is just a statement, I think this one could be either of the two could be dependent and either of the two could be independent. Okay, so here, this is also the example I have given to you during my previous video and in our class also, the amount of fertilizer affects plant growth rate. So if you only put here fertilizer, that is wrong. It should be amount of fertilizer to consider a variable because as I have said, variable is a characteristic. Okay. Also here for the dependent variable, someone of you or maybe you just put here plant. If you put here plant, that is wrong. We need to determine the characteristic of the plant. And in this statement or in this question, the determined characteristic is the growth rate. Okay. Now let's proceed to qualitative and quantitative. So as I have told you in class, qualitative research is also is different from quantitative research, but this is the thing. There are qualitative data that is used in quantitative data. Okay, so do not be confused about qualitative data and qualitative research because sometimes that's the common mistake of a researcher that if they use qualitative data, they are referring to qualitative research immediately. Okay, we have qualitative data, but we use in quantitative research. So qualitative data, non-numeric data used to describe characteristics or qualities. Then we have quantitative data, numeric data. So here, numeric data, it will be automatically quantitative. And then if it is non-numeric or more on words, that is qualitative. Okay. Now, next one is we will identify the data and also the category. Price of a car. What is the price of the car? Of course, we will be using peso or in dollar, and that is in number. That's why it is quantitative. Number of children in the family. So number of children in the family from the word number itself, it is quantitative. Breed of a dog. You cannot count the breed of the dog. Maybe you can count five, but if you are being asked about breed of the dog, you will give like bulldog, Shih Tzu. So that is qualitative because it is in words. Um, Also for marital status of a person, that is qualitative, right? We will determine the marital status of a person when it comes to single, married, widow, separated, and so on. So that is qualitative. Temperature of water in a swimming pool. So the temperature of the water in a swimming pool is also quantitative. As we have discussed, temperature is a number. It is in degree or in Fahrenheit. But when we measure it in degree or in Fahrenheit, it is a number. Now, how it becomes qualitative when we say type of measurement in temperature. So when we say type, we have degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit. So that's become qualitative. However, the statement here says temperature of the water in the swimming pool. So when we measure the temperature of the water in a swimming pool, it is in degrees Celsius or in Fahrenheit, but it is in number. That's why it is quantitative. Okay. Now we have here the last one is the scale of measurement. So we already discussed what is nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. So the nominal and ordinal they are quite the same, but they differ in ranking. Ordinal has a specific order, while nominal has no specific order. On the other hand, interval and ratio, they are both numeric, but they differ only with the true meaning of zero. So here, the interval has no true zero and ratio has true zero. So let's have an example. Example, the data you need to be taken is the weight of a person in kilograms. So the highest level of measurement that we can get is ratio. Okay, ratio. So the answer is ratio. List of books in library, that is nominal. If you look at the list of books, you can just have it in words. So that is nominal. Age of student in years. So that is ratio because if it is in zero, means you're not you're not yet still alive. So that's why it is in ratio. Blood type of individuals, we have nominal. Nominal is because blood type is categorized by A, B, B, O, O plus, like that. So that's why it is nominal. But it is not ordinal because there is no ranking of which one is better and which one is lesser when it comes to blood type. Okay, how about rank of employees? From the word itself, rank, that is ordinal already, not just a nominal because we put rank of employees in a company. That's why it is ordinal. Time taken to run a race. So what is the unit measure in time taken to run a race? The unit measure is in hour, in minutes, in seconds. That's why it is ratio. This one is the common mistake. Person shoe size, it is ordinal because of course we don't have a shoe size of 2 or 3. We only have like 6, 7, 8. We don't have 21, but we do have 35, 36, and it is ordinal in nature. Okay. We could not also say it is interval because there is, so the highest level of measurement per person's shoe size is only ordinal. Types of fruit. Okay, when we have types of fruit, we have the yellow or green or sour fruit or types of fruits when in terms of a taste, could have in terms of color, so that is nominal. And temperature in Fahrenheit. So when we say 0 Fahrenheit, that is interval in nature because there is no true meaning of zero. For example, when we say 0 degree Fahrenheit, it doesn't mean that there is no temperature. There is temperature. The only thing is that it is considered there is no true meaning of zero, unlike in ratio. When we say zero in ratio, so there is absence of the variable. How about level of satisfaction with the survey? So commonly, this is the common mistake of researcher because when they assess the level of measurement, they will have satisfied, very satisfied, and they will use that as a ratio, but that is ordinal in nature. So with the scale of measurement and the types of variables we are assessing, we can determine the types of tests that we need to use in data analysis. Okay. Now here we have, in conclusion, understanding the types of data and their categories help us in correctly analyzing and interpreting information in research, surveys, and data studies. So we need to determine the types and the scale of measurement so that for the coming lessons, you will understand why we use that specific type of uh, data, okay? That specific type of statistics. So I hope you have learned today and thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.